what it says. In the same way, watch this. Husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hates his own flesh, but he provides and cares for it just as Christ does the church, since we are members of his body. And that's the Christian Standard Version. So look at this. The scripture is saying this. When you can tell how a husband feels about himself by watching how he treats his wife. If a husband is treating his wife in a wrong way, if he's treating his wife disrespectfully, if he's treating his wife in a way that's not pleasing to God, what it is actually doing is allowing us to see what he thinks about himself. And it's a transference. He may not even understand that he doesn't have a healthy self-image, but it is projected in how he treats her. So all we have to do in order to see what the self-image of the individual who's married, all we have to do is look at how they treat their wives. But that's not just, reserved for marriage. You can look at anybody and see how they treat anybody else, and you can pretty much glean what they think about themselves. And I guarantee you that if they don't know how to treat you, they're probably not treating themselves well. Now, they're duped because they believe they're treating themselves well. So this is what they do. They'll buy themselves everything. They'll eat everything. They'll go everywhere. They treat themselves, and they really think that they're doing well. But the stuff that they do, they end up overspending, overliving, extending themselves, stretching themselves beyond their capability or capacity, and then they have meltdown. And everybody else, watch this, that's in relationship with them has to now help to love them back to life. So I want you to understand this. When you look at how people treat other people, it's a reflection on what they think about themselves internally. So I encourage you to love yourself. Why? Because 1 Corinthians 3:16, the A portion. 1 Corinthians 3:16, the A portion. This is what it says. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God? If you have a healthy self-image, one of the reasons how you can get there and why you have that healthy self-image is because you identify that you're valuable. You've identified that you're worth something. You've identified that you're priceless and that there's no price tag that can be put on you. And we identify that you've understood that by your actions, by your lifestyle, by your daily habits. So everybody who's killing themselves softly doesn't love themselves, nor do they value their property, let alone God's property. Do you know one of the worst things we can do is constantly give people a handout? Because when you're constantly giving people handouts, you eliminate their ability after a while of being able to appreciate that which they are being given. Because there's no effort or energy in giving it. It's simply receiving, and so we reduce the value of it. People see the value in something they had to pay for. They had to earn. They had to do something for than they have to do for their own. Do you know that people will drive your car very differently than they drive their own? Matter of fact, let me show it to you like this. Do you know you drive rental cars differently than you drive your own car? We run over a pothole in the rental car. Hey, we taking it back anyway. We park and, skim ride up on the sidewalk and skim up the wheels and tires on the rental car. Hey, that's not my car. You spill grape juice in the rental car. Oops, accident. Take the rental car all back, filthy, dirty, smelling. But then when we get in your car, we can't eat, we can't drink, we can only blink our eyes, because to leave our eyes wide open, you're taking up too much of the time and space inside the cab of the car. Don't eat in the car, breathe every other breath. Because we value our thing more than we value some other things. And so look, I'm encouraging you. Point number 2, if you are going to be successfully single, you've got to love yourself. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are the works of the Lord. You are the temple of the Holy Ghost. You are the temple of God. You're somebody of substance and value. Treat yourself like that. When you look in the mirror, I don't care what society describes you as, you ought to see something that's beautiful. You know how many times we get frustrated and we lose sleep because of other people's thoughts of ourselves? If you don't like the way I look, that's on you. If you don't like the way I'm shaped, that's your problem. If you don't like my hairstyle, be grateful it's not your hairstyle. I want you to really think about it. If you don't like what I'm wearing, thank God you're not wearing it. I want you to understand this, because we trip ourselves out because we don't even allow ourselves to be individual because we're so worried about societal norms. Now listen, you don't do yourself a favor by just looking crazy. Have some sense, have some balance, understand that certain things look better on you than others or all that. But at the same time, don't dog yourself out. Listen, if God made you, you're a woman and you're 6'4", and isn't it something how when you were a child and you were the tallest girl in class, you were in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, you always got teased? But then when you finally became a woman, finally got some power, finally begin to embrace who you are and begin to start loving you, you start finding out like, dang, there's some dudes out there that love the tall girl. There's some runways out there that's getting the tall girl paid, right? There's some TV shows that's centered around the tall girl. There's some magazines in there of tall girls who are the envy of short girls. And so I want you to understand this balance. There's something out there for everybody. Stop trying to be the thin girl if you ain't gonna never be the thin girl. Start celebrating being thick. Can I get an amen from somebody that weighs a little more than 100 pounds? I really want you to think about this. I'm telling you, there are so many people who are not comfortable with their own self-image, and then everybody suffers from it. You've got to be able to love yourself. When you look in the mirror, you ought to remind yourself how fearfully and wonderfully made you are. Watch this. It's a benefit, because if you really get a healthy self-image of you, if God blesses you to have children, you'll be able to deposit healthy self-image in your children, and then they won't bow down to peer pressure trying to be like the world. Let me calm down. God is limited in his capacity to use you when your self-image is low. You in there trying to minister to some girl or some guy, and they don't have a healthy self-image about themselves, and you thought you had a healthy self-image about yourself, and then they strike a nerve in you. Then before you know it, we get in a call that the person we sent to minister to you, now they need a lifeline. Because while they were ministering to you, your stuff was so heavy to them, you brought them down. Now y'all both getting ready to have the Last Supper and kill yourselves. Then we got to send an emergency crew in there to deliver the two of you. Just because something she said about herself, something he said about himself, took you back to a place in time. And your vivid memory now has reduced you to nothingness. And now you're saying, yeah, my nose is big, and my hair is nappy, and my skin is dark, and my feet are pigeon-toed, and my butt is big, and my thighs are thick, and thank you, Jesus. I'm telling you. I want you to understand, this is what makes the world as wonderful as it is. Diversity. I don't want everybody around me who looks like me and acts like me and responds like me. That's boring. I need some color. I need some sound. I need some creativity. I need some ingenuity. I need something different. I guess by now in the 6 years, those of you who have been with me for 6 years, if it's one thing you know, I don't have too much issue with self-image, do I? No, you can call me conceited. You can tell me I think I'm too cute. You can tell me I think I'm too cool. You can tell me I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. Listen, I have had to go through life being short and thin. I don't make it this far, given into what people think about me. No. I wouldn't have gotten this far. But look, I got this far because I don't care what people say about me. I know I look good, even if you don't think I look good. I know my suits are sharp, even if you don't think my suits are sharp. My colors coordinate, even if you don't think my colors coordinate. It just is what it is. Don't hate the player. Get in the game. I even discovered something, Sherry. People who have issues with their own self-image don't like people who are confident in their self-image. I can't help you. It ain't my fault that I know who I am. It ain't my fault that I know my purpose. It's not my fault I know I'm en route to destiny. It's not my fault that I'm anointed and highly favored. It's not my fault. Blame it on God. Don't blame it on the gin and juice. Don't blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on God. Blame it on God. Blame it on God. I'm worth everything that's coming to me, man. I deserve what works, Tech. It's a God thing, Don. Look, you don't even have to hate me if you start celebrating you. I done messed up the CD, man. I'm gonna have to do a different version in a private setting where the energy is not high. But I'm telling you, I don't want to rush past this point because there are too many people who don't like themselves. And when you don't like yourself, you end up in prison. You end up, substance abusers. You end up self-medicating. You end up telling yourself that you're not as good as everybody else. And then you develop an unhealthy attachment. Doing a study now, and when I really get it in my spirit and when I really know how to give it to you, I'm going to teach it to you because we all develop these attachment theories that start from the cradle. And everything we come in contact with and everybody we come in contact with and the environments that we're raised in create these attachment theories that we all have. But one of the bases of the attachment theory is these two thoughts. When we come in contact with people, you don't say it verbally, but somehow you process these two thoughts. Am I worthy to be loved? And are they good enough to love me? And somehow we figure that information out based on conversation and dialogue, based on whether I'm near you or away from you, based on how I interact with you. You're processing the information and it creates an attachment theory with you. And the attachment theory determines how you do relationships. So while I was in the class and I'm learning this stuff, I'm scanning the congregation. Starting with me. And I'm like, wow, that's why I do what I do. And that's why I think the way I think. And that's the way I feel the way I feel. Oh, that's why they do what they do. And they think the way they think. And they sit where they sit. I'm like, wow, God, okay. We're going to have to enter into another congregational counseling setting so that we can get folks to not only revisit their core values and their core thinking, but why they do relationship the way they do it. And it might help you to be delivered from it. Ooh. So you better love yourself. Don't have an unhealthy look. You're not better than nobody else, right? The sum total of who you are is dirt with a little bit of God breathed in. That's the part that makes you valuable. So the moment you disconnect from God and you think you're doing you, you have no value. Right? But the moment you stay connected to God and you understand that he's the reason why you live, move, have your being, are successful, can be confident, and all that stuff, you good because you'll stay balanced. And so just because I think I'm all that, it's not because it's an unhealthy view of me. It's because I just believe what God says about me. And because I believe what God says about me, it totally counteracts what you say because what you say conflicts with what he said. And anytime you say anything that conflicts with what he said, I can't listen to you because you're not a truth bearer. So when I walk in, you ought to say, wow, look at Mark. He's sharp. It's in the word. I'm telling you, we're just having fun, but I want you to understand healthy self-image, right? Because listen, if your nose is not like my nose, you'll spend thousands of dollars trying to fix your nose when it's the nose that God gave you. If it's the nose that God gave you, watch this, and you decide that the nose that man can give you is better than the nose that God gave you, there's something wrong with your image of you. And so folks put their lives on the line, having all kinds of cosmetic stuff done to them, having a man possibly do things to them that they can't recover from because they were not comfortable with who God made them. Self-image. Self-image. And so you can hear it when you say, man, you look good in that dress. This old thing. I didn't ask you how old it was. I just noticed that it looked good. All you did was reveal that you're uncomfortable receiving a compliment because you don't think you're good enough. I told you before, I was in Center City. I'll never forget this. I was on 15th Street between 16 and 15. Walking down the street, beautiful young lady coming in my direction. And when she got up next to me, I said, that's a beautiful dress you got on. And she said, what you want? In the middle of the street. And she's looking at me all defensive. And I said to her, who hurt you that bad? Who hurt you that bad that you can't just receive a compliment? I ain't trying to get next to you. My rap is better than that. If I was trying to get next to you, I got a whole nother game for that. This is just appreciation mode. You understand? See, I'm tripping y'all out because, look, I know who I am. And I'm telling you, it was just strictly compliment mode. But somebody along her life ruined her ability to do relationships, and I saw her level of attachment theory. Damaged goods. Somebody is either married to her or might marry her. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. And so it is important. Now, look, I'm going to get some calls after this one. I will get some emails or some texts. Save your calls. Don't call me on this one. All right, I'm just saying. It's vital, man. It's vital. Do you agree that positive and healthy self-image is important? Yes. It will help you have discipline in your spending. Yes. It will help you not enter into toxic relationships looking for the wrong thing. It will cause you to really be able to identify right relationship with God. And it will make you want to do relationships with your brothers and sisters. Because you have a healthy self-image of yourself. So that's the second point. If you're going to be successfully single, what is it you have to have? A healthy self-image of you. You've got to love yourself. You've got to love yourself. Watch this. Point number 3. Key to having the key to becoming successfully single is by surrounding yourself with friends who will tell you the truth about you. Yes. We're going to let that one sink in. The key to becoming successfully single is surrounding yourself with friends who will tell you the truth about you. People who lie to you aren't your friends. No matter how hard the truth is, they do you a favor by telling you the truth. When people tell you the truth about you, it is vital for your ability to become healthy. So surround yourself with people who will tell you the truth. Let's look at the word. Proverbs 17:17, it says, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for difficult times or for adversity, the King James Version would say. I just read the Christian Standard Version. But a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for difficult times. Your friends will love you, even if they have to tell you the hard thing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your friend will stay your friend, even when they tell you the truth and it creates friction and adversity. If they really love you, they'll tell you the truth. Don't let me go outside looking crazy. Don't do that. Because then when somebody finally tells me the truth and half the day is gone, I'm embarrassed. I'm wounded. My healthy self-image of myself is shattered. I'm trying to make it back home, all because you let me go out looking like that. Looking like that. And you say you're my friend? So remember the old Houdini song, right? What's that song? Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. What's the next verse? Friends you can depend on. Let's be friends. Let's be friends. So watch that. You giving me the title friend.